Dobrodošli u Golubačku Trčavu. Welcome to Golubac Fortress. It's Castle Day, baby. Let's get it. But first, food. Živeli. Oh, super dobro. So I'm sitting here in a traditional Serbian kafana. We're waiting for some very tasty Serbian food. But to start off, we always have some rakia. This is quince flavored. It's probably 40 to 50% alcohol. It's like the Serbian jet fuel. So we have our first little starter here. It is some nice toast, some onion, and some tuna spread. Let's give it a shot. It's definitely not tuna, but I very much like it. So the food has arrived on the table, traditional Serbian meal. We've got the lepinja. Look at that beautiful bread. Look at that, beautiful. Typical Srpska salad. And of course, the ribs with potatoes covered in kajmak, that traditional, like cream-based butter stuff. Looks amazing, let's try it. All right, so the question is, how do the ribs taste? Smoky. Something like very similar to what you get at a barbecue restaurant in the United States. Just delightful and very, very tender. I love Serbian food, very heavy, very hearty, and always hits the spot. Let's go see a castle. Starting a journey in Serbia. It's always tough because you're always like 1 pound of meat in your stomach. And it's really hard to move, and that's just part of traveling this part of the world. But we've got the beautiful Danube River here. It's probably the widest that I've seen it. We've got some old men fishing, and then off in the distance is Golubac, an old fortress that we'll learn more about when we get there. So I thought it would be a lovely walk, but it turns out to be just along the road. We've got Romania over here, the mighty Danube, and Golubac is right behind this large thing. So after a pretty precarious 50-minute walk, kind of on a highway, we've made it to Golubac Fortress. This fortress was built in the late 1400s by the Hungarians. And the story goes that it was basically a very important point on the Danube. You can see here, this is kind of like it gets very wide here, then very straight and narrow here, and this was an important point for control of this region. So the Ottomans took this over the late 1400s, and they kept it until Serbia gained its independence towards the mid 1800s. So this was more or less a Turkish Ottoman post along the Danube for nearly 400 years. It's been part of Serbia since 1867, and now it's one of the coolest tourist sites that you can go to between Romania and Serbia. The Golubac Fortress. What a delightful slice of medieval architecture. Sitting on the Danube's Iron Gate. Doesn't that sound like something out of Game of Thrones? This fortress has been a vital military outpost for the Serbs, Hungarians, Bulgarians, and Ottomans, and even the pre-Ottoman Byzantines for over the last 1,000 years. This place changed power dynamics for centuries and saw many, many battles. It was won, lost, sold, and won again for ages and ages, determining who controlled this vital crossing of the Danube. Today, it's a great tourist spot in a quaint part of the country, with friendly locals much less likely to take you prisoner than 200 years ago. So we're back on the mean streets of Golubac, where the journey started. If you're ever curious what a small town in Serbia is like, it's actually a lot nicer than you would suspect. This area is dotted with actually quite large houses with lots of nice gardens, and it's not nearly as poor as what I saw in Albania. Here they have the old house style, you can see, old signs. Got lots of good stuff here. Buy some tomatoes, some peppers. Even in the smaller towns in Serbia, you can see this history pretty much everywhere you go. Whether it was the Yugoslavs, the communists, making these sanitariums just like the Soviets did on places where people could rest on the Danube, and back over here with the more old school buildings that you find in the very Austro-Hungarian or Serbian style. Since this is probably a little bit of a resort city, they definitely have more restaurants than I was expecting, but very cute little streets. For me, walking around the kind of rural or small towns of the Balkans, I would say that the quality of life here is certainly higher than in some other cities and other countries I've been in. And it seems in Serbia, people are doing pretty good, even if they're not living in the city. I mean, of course, money is a lot tighter than in Western Europe, but people seem to be living okay, which is nice. So here you got, you know, you got some houses, you got a nice church up here. Seems like people are taking care of their properties, which is nice. And then people are building new properties. Got a Mercedes-Benz, got a Opel, you know? Not what you'd expect from rural Serbia. Look at this beautiful Balkan-style home. Gorgeous. Or this beautiful Balkan-style car. Or this older style, beautiful Balkan-style house. Final note, as I walk towards the Danube through this little beautiful garden town, I will say that borders, especially when it comes to rivers, are strange, and that Golubats Fortress, as an idea, it was a place of defense of many different warriors, many different people. This castle was so fought over. It was in the hands of so many people, and so many people died trying to control it, trying to take it, trying to control this waterway that we see here. And in modern times, it's just a place that tourists go to take photos, to spend time with their family, and it seems so inconsequential in our modern view. But the borders still exist. Over there is Romania, here is Serbia. Here they eat Serbian food, they speak the Serbian language, they identify with a Serbian national identity. Over there is Romanian food, Romanian people, Romanian national identity. And there's a difference. This water creates a difference. These national borders create a difference. It's a very weird thing because they can see them, we can see them, they can see us, we can see them. They're so close, yet so far away. And that's what makes this world so goddamn complex. So on the windy banks of the Danube, we're gonna end our journey here. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you want to. You don't have to, it's your choice. We've got a few more tales from our road here in Serbia, and then we'll take you to our next location. Živeli, thanks for watching. Do svidanja.